Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spoke, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. The Lord brings the counsel of the nations to nothing. He makes the plans of the peoples of no effect. The counsel of the Lord stands forever. The plans of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people whom he has chosen as his own inheritance. And that is the theme of what I want to talk about today. My message today is the uniqueness of the nation whom God chose as his own inheritance. How many of you know the name of that nation? I didn't hear you. Israel, that's right. That's not popular teaching everywhere, but it just happens to be true. So, as I've said, my theme this morning is the uniqueness of Israel. Now that's something that upsets people today. We live in what I would call a humanistic, egalitarian culture, where they are obliterating the differences between everything and everybody. No difference between man or woman, no difference between races. We're all alike. That is nonsense. To be different is not to be inferior. But if you're different and you don't recognize the difference, you're making trouble for yourself. And God has made Israel a unique people. That's one main reason why they have been consistently persecuted for many hundreds of years, because people object to something that's different. But the fact remains, if you're different, you're different. You can't change it. There's a tendency amongst the people of Israel today to want to escape their difference. The present Prime Minister of Israel said on the day that he took office, "We are a people just like all other peoples." It isn't true. And his saying it doesn't make it true. We have to face up to the fact that there are differences. So I'm going to give you a series of scriptures that deal with the uniqueness of Israel. The first one is found in 1 Chronicles 17, verse 21, which is part of a prayer that David prayed to the Lord. And it says, only the first half of the verse, "And who is like your people Israel, the one nation on the earth, whom God went to redeem for himself as a people?" David says there very clearly and specifically, Israel is a unique nation. It's the only nation on the earth that God went to redeem for himself as a people. And then we turn to Exodus 19, the words that God gave to Moses as Israel were assembled at the foot of Mount Sinai. And he told Moses to tell Israel his purpose for them. It's found in Exodus 19, verses 5 and 6. God said to Moses, "Tell Israel this, now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be a special treasure to me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation." So there are three things for which God set Israel apart. They were to be a special treasure to him above all nations. And they were to be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Three distinctive destinies: a special treasure, a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. Now, my conclusion from years of experience and study is that the devil can delay the fulfillment of God's purposes, but he can never ultimately prevent it. And I believe Satan has done everything he can to delay the outworking of God's purpose for Israel, but ultimately he cannot prevent it. Israel will become precisely what God chose them to be: a special treasure, a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. And in the New Testament, especially in the writings of Paul, we find a number of facts scriptural facts which point out various distinctive features of Israel. In Romans chapter 3, verses 1 and 2, Paul raises the question, what advantage then has the Jew? Or what is the profit of circumcision? That's the distinctive mark of God's covenant with Israel. And the answer is much in every way. Chiefly because to them were committed the oracles or the living words of God. So that's one feature that makes Israel totally unique. The Word of God, the Scriptures, the Bible were given to us through one people, Israel. If there had never been an Israel, there would never be a Bible. If that was the only fact, it would make them uniquely important. Now, it says in this verse, to them were committed the oracles of God. I prefer to say to them were entrusted the words of God. Because God did not give his word to Israel to be their exclusive possession, but that they might be stewards to administer the word of God to all other nations. And one Israelite certainly saw his responsibility. Again, the words of Paul in Romans chapter 1, verses 14 and 15. Paul says, I am a debtor, both to Greeks and to barbarians, both to wise and to unwise. Paul says, I am under a divine obligation because of what God has done for me and my people. So as much as is in me, I am ready to preach the gospel to you who are in Rome also. Paul recognized his responsibility. He didn't possess the scriptures. He didn't possess the gospel. It was entrusted to him as a steward. And thank God for the faithful stewardship of the Apostle Paul. And let's consider what it cost him. It cost him absolutely everything. But for the sake of other nations, because he was the apostle to the Gentiles, he gave up everything and devoted his whole life, time, energy, and eventually died the death of a martyr, that other nations might receive what had been entrusted to his people, Israel. Now, I am not Jewish, I need to say that clearly. But I thank God for Paul's faithfulness. I thank God for the faithfulness of all the Jewish people who provided the scriptures for us, from Genesis through Revelation. There's only one author in the Bible who was possibly or probably not actually Jewish. That was Luke. But it's highly probable that he was a proselyte. In other words, he had his spiritual inheritance through Israel. Otherwise, without question, every author of every book in the Bible was Jewish. Are you grateful for the Bible? Yes. Then you have to be grateful for the Jewish people. It's totally inconsistent to appreciate the Bible and depreciate the Jews.